Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Star Trek Online. This is the Doctor and today I am going to show you another starship. This is an introductory video to the Voth Palisade science vessel. So in this video we're going to talk about the Palisade. I'm going to go over all the specifications. Then I'm going to show you my build, and then we will go see the bridge. We'll go into space, look at the ship in person. We'll check out the powers and activate them, and then we'll go into a couple of battles in Taldewa, into the sector patrols that you can do, and show you the abilities of the ship. And from there, then the next video will be all Borg Elite STFs, and then the next one following that will be all the Voth STFs. So let's get right to it. The Voth Palisade science vessel. This is another Voth vessel. We have taken a look at the Voth Bastion flight deck cruiser, which was a more engineering or tanky kind of build. The Voth Palisade obviously is for science characters. I am on my main character, the Doctor. He is a science character on the Federation. So I have all my science abilities geared toward geared toward like Gravity Well and Tychon's Rift, and using science abilities and buffing all that. So let's go over some of the specs on the ship. I'm reading this from another webpage. This says, this is from the devblog 21 from Star Trek Online. The Palisade science vessel boasts enhanced scientific capabilities, having first been designed for use as a combination explorer and research vessel. Despite being focused on the gathering of knowledge, this ship design is still fully capable of defending itself in direct confrontation. And I have found that to be very true. This is a very, very good ship. I like this ship a lot. Just like I like the Voth Bastion after some time. I like this one right off the bat. I really got a good feel for it. Alright, continuing on. This ship comes equipped with an aceton field generator console that allows the ship to emit a unique energy resonance field for up to 20 seconds. While this mode is engaged, the ship resonates with the surrounding warp cores of enemy ships, causing their energy levels to gradually fail. Simultaneously, any incoming attacks from energy weapons cause the aceton generator to build up additional energy resonance within the vessel that has this console equipped. While stored, this energy grants a damage resistance to the ship that scales up with the amount of energy that has been stored. This energy may also be expelled at any time or automatically when the 20-second timer runs out, to send out a devastating energy shockwave to damage nearby enemy vessels, and becomes more powerful as more energy resonance is stored. This console may be equipped on any Voth vessel. Now, I did have this aceton generator on my other character, the last Doctor, who's an engineer. I had it on the Voth Bastion cruiser, and that allowed me to get the bonus of having a cloaking device. So I did already show you this device in that series of videos. If you watch those Voth Bastion flight deck cruiser videos, you've seen this same thing already. However, now this is what you get just on the science vessel. I do not have the reactive shield amplifier. That only comes on the Voth Bastion, and since this is a different character, I only have the Voth Palisade science console and not the reactive shield emitter from the Voth Bastion cruiser. That means this ship right now I cannot cloak, so I do not get that second ability. And it goes on to say, equipping both the aceton field generator and the reactive shield amplifier on this allow the starship to use the Voth cloak, as well as granting a small passive bonus to damage resistance rating. So that's what I don't have. I don't have the Voth cloak on this ship, and I don't have the small passive bonus resistance damage, because the reactive shield amplifier I do not have on this character. He does not have a Voth Bastion ship on this character to pull that console from. So it is a pure Voth Palisade with just as it comes. Now, where do you get this ship, you may ask? And I should have brought that up first. Well, you can get it in the low-buy store for 800 low-buy. It's right there. Or you can get it also in the exchange. And I just checked prior to recording this video. It is 94 million energy credits. And so there you go. If you have the energy credits to get it, go for it. I really do like this science ship. All right, here's the stats on it. Hull strength, 33,000. Shield modifier, 1.45. Now that is a high shield modifier, and you find that typically on science ships. They will have a higher shield modifier. What that means is the shield capacity on this ship is a lot larger than other ships. And in fact, if you put those generator consoles on in the science, on your science console, you can increase your capacity a lot more with a shield modifier that high. It has a crew of 500, so this ain't no small ship. 500 crew. Weapons, typical of science vessels, it has 3 fore and 3 aft weapon slots. So it doesn't give you a fourth one. That would be kind of, I guess, maybe a little op. But you get the 3 fore and the 3 aft. You have 3 device slots. You also, here are the bridge officer layout. You have a lieutenant commander engineering, so you can beef this ship up pretty good with that. You have commander science, and that's what you're looking for in a science ship. You want a commander science bridge officer station. This has that. A lieutenant universal, a lieutenant commander universal. So you get some the ability there to really design the ship and your bridge officer powers how you want. Really customize it with those universal slots. I like that. Console modifications, it has 2 tactical, which is typical for a science ship. You're not going to have a lot of tactical consoles. 3 engineering, which is not bad. I would like to see 4 engineering, but 3 engineering is not bad. But here's where it really separates itself from some other ships. It has 5 science console slots. That's right, 5 science console slots. Of course, one of them is taken up by the aceton generator, but you can remove it and put something else in those slots that you want. The base turn rate is 11 degrees per second, so that 11 degrees per second. So that is a fast turning ship. That means that this is a very maneuverable ship, as it should be as a science vessel, and it's good. It's got a impulse modifier of 0.15. It has plus 15 to auxiliary power. Again, a science ship, you want that auxiliary power. This has that. It's got the regular matter antimatter warp core. You can put whatever warp core you want on it. It's got the aceton filled generator. It's got subsystem targeting, so if you're a science officer and you do subsystem targeting with beam weapons, this ship does that, of course, and sensor analysis. So that's an overview of the ship. Pretty straightforward. I want to go and customize ship real quick and just show you maybe different ways you could customize it. There's only one template. There's only one window choice, but there's a couple of different materials. They're not showing up because I have my shield visual on right now. And then of course you can't change any like the hull styles or anything like that, but you can change the pattern on it. You can put a colored pattern on it or whatever. Let me turn the shield visual off, and we can see what the 2 different textures look like. I don't think I've ever looked at that myself. Alright, where's my TARDIS, disable visuals, and let's go back, customize Starship. So there's Voth Type 2, and there's Voth Type 1. Oh, they're really similar. There's like no difference. What the heck? Okay, so I guess it really just doesn't matter. I mean, those are just too similar. There's barely any differences in that. One's a tad lighter than the other, but yeah. Nothing really there we can really customize the visuals with. So you're going to get the biggest visual impact from your whatever shield you have going on. That's going to give you the biggest difference. Before we jump into space and look at it in space and all that, let's jump to the bridge. Visit Starship Bridge. Let's jump to the bridge because this is just like the Voth Bastion flight deck cruiser. The bridge on this should be the same, and it's large, because I guess Voth are large. And of course, a long loading time. I had loaded the bridge prior to making this video so that when I would load the bridge now it would go faster, but apparently that did not make a difference because it's really slow again. I am a little disappointed in the fact that you cannot go to other parts of your ship. You are limited to your bridge. There is no ready room from this bridge. You can't go see your warp core. You can't go walking down the halls of your ship. You can't go to other areas. That's a little disappointing. I'd like to see them open up ships a little more, and especially on these custom ships, give us some like custom abilities, custom insides, innards, custom innards. So just like the Voth Bastion flight deck cruiser, it's the same bridge. Nothing different about it at all. Big screen. The bridge is on the inside of the ship, even though it's still a smaller ship than the flight deck cruiser. Apparently the bridge is on the inside, I guess. You select small craft here, access account bank. It's the exact same layout as the Voth Bastion. Duty officer assignments. And access library files, and that's it. That's all there is from the bridge. So a little disappointing there on that front, but at least it has a unique bridge. They don't do that for every ship, and I like it when they are able to do that. Let's look at my build, shall we? Now, as I load this build, please remember I build these ships for fun. I build these ships to exploit themes like a Voth theme or some kind of theme like that. I want to keep the ships, generally I want to keep the ships build based on, you know, what you would expect that ship or that race of alien to use. Like, you know, it's real obvious on some of them what they would use, and sometimes it's not. And of course, anybody can change their build to whatever they want. Everyone's got different ideas and opinions, and that's cool. What I've made works for me, and by no means do I claim it's the best build that you could do. It's just an option, and it works for me. So here's what I've got. I built this ship based on the fact that this is a Voth ship, and Voth are anti-proton. They love to use anti-proton. So I built this ship based around anti-proton weaponry. So I have, at the front, I have an advanced fleet anti-proton beam array. I could have used Voth beam arrays, and I did that on the Voth Bastion flight deck cruiser. However, on this one, I felt because there's less arrays, basically the Voth Bastion has like 4 forward and 4 aft beam arrays. Because I have less space for beam arrays, I need more of a punch. I need a little bit more DPS because it's a science vessel after all. I'm a science character. I'm going to do the least DPS. So I need to get the best weapons I can to kind of try to make up for that. So I went with the Advanced Fleet Anti-Proton Beams because they do a higher DPS than the Voth Mark 12 very rare ones. And they're pure anti-proton, nothing special about it, but it just felt like the right fit for the ship. So Advanced Fleet Anti-Proton Beam Array, and then I put on the front a dual beam bank. Because this ship has an 11-degree turn rate, it turns fast enough for me to be able to use that dual beam bank on the front, and that also gives it a bit more punch. Again, because I'm a science character and I need that. For the back, 1 beam array, and then I'm using my omnidirectional anti-proton beam array and the kinetic cutting beam on the back. Both of these are 360-degree firing arcs. So that means I have now added the ability of basically having 4 forward weapon slots, or 5, because I now have basically 1, 2, 3, 4 beams firing forward if I'm firing forward, and then plus my torpedo is 5. So in a way I've got 5 forward weapon slots because these two are 360-degree beams and they can fire forward. This one, of course, cannot. It'll fire from the side or the back. But that's really cool, and that's another way I was able to beef up the damage on it a little bit is by using those 360-degree beams. And this one particularly, the omnidirectional beam, is appropriate on this ship combined with the Obelisk Subspace Rift Core, because the 2-piece bonus directly affects anti-proton damage. So with 2 pieces on, I've got that plus 10% anti-proton damage. Now the other piece is the reactive anti-proton cascade emitter, which I don't have. So that you get from the advanced Obelisk, and I don't have that on this character. If I had that, I could have used, maybe that instead, which is a console instead. But I would rather use this setup here. The Subspace Rift Core, and then get the plus 10% anti-proton damage, which is going to help everything as well. So that's kind of my setup there. Now the Kinetic Cutting Beam I like to have, and the Universal Console, of course, so I get that set 2 bonus. I love to have this on beam ships. This is the plus 10 current weapon power and weapon power resistance. It's also good on cannonballs. It's actually good on everything. So I just like to have it on everything. That's the way I roll on that. For my engineering consoles, I have the Fleet Neutronium with improved ship hit points for a higher hull strength, and then my EPS flow regulator. Here is where things really come interesting for me. On the science consoles, of course, I have the aceton field generator. This is what comes with this ship. And there's all the stats on it. But this is what comes with the ship. Now, it is part of a 3-piece set. Again, if I had the reflective shield amplifier from the Voth Bastion, we would get Voth Cloak and Voth Reinforced Hull. And if we had the Ward repair ships from the Bulwark, we could put it on this ship and get a battle cloak. Yes, a battle cloak on a science vessel would be super sweet. I don't have either of those ships on this character, so we cannot have those bonuses, but just so you know, that is what is possible out of this ship. You could have that if you were lucky enough to get a Bulwark, which are way expensive, or a the Voth Bastion. If you can get both of those, then you get that battle cloak. So I mean, really, really nice abilities out of a science ship. But again, it requires you have to get 2 other ships that are also extremely expensive. And yeah, I don't have them here. What else do we have? Oh yes, okay. I have all my reputations basically to tier 5, except for Dyson on this character. I'm still working, as you can see. I'm getting close to a tier 4 Dyson on this character. Even closer now. And so I'm not quite there yet in Dyson, but I do have tier 5 New Romulus, New Kara, and Omega. And so I have looked through all of the reputations to look at the consoles they come with to see if they would benefit this ship in any way. And I have found that 2 of them definitely benefit my ship. The first one that I really like now on beam ships is the console from the New Kara reputation. This is called a Universal New Kara Particle Converter. And check out these stats. Plus 5 to shield power. So already you know my capacity is going to be beefed up because of the shield modifier. This would also be good on a cruiser as well if you need more shield power. So that's going to give you more shield power, and I like that. This is going to resist shield drain and energy drain, and that's going to be good against the Borg or even the Voth. They do energy drain, and the Breen. A lot of races actually do those type of things. And here's where it also helps me on a science vessel. It improves my exotic damage. And exotic damage is my Gravity Well and Tychon's Rift that I'm going to be throwing out as a science character. So I really, I want as much exotic damage as I can do. So this helps with that. And 4th, this is great for a beam ship like this. Plus 10% accuracy with beam weapons. So, since I'm using beam weapons, and that's the obvious choice on this ship, I'm going to get now more accuracy with my beams as well. So this console helps me in several ways. I'm going to have higher shield strength, higher shield power. That's great. I'm going to have more resistance to shield drain and energy drain. My exotic damage is improved for science, and my beam weapons have better accuracy. So this is a great console. It is part of a set, but I didn't find that set was beneficial on this ship. As you can see, the set 2 bonus is Tetrion amplification. I'm not using Tetrion weapons, so that doesn't affect this ship's build. But if you were using Tetrion, you would want to continue on with the other Nukara bits. But anyway, this one by itself, just look at that. I love that. I cannot get over how awesome those stats are and how much that's going to help my ship. Second is the new Romulus one. This is the 0-point energy conduit. This one is from the new Romulus reputation. This one also increases power, but this one increases power to all subsystems. So every one of them gets a plus 1.8 power increase. That's not a lot, but it's all adding up, right? I've got all these little things going in, adding up, so I'm going to have more power. This also resists shield drain and energy drain, and it improves my critical chance for getting critical hits. And because I'm using anti-proton, that's important, because anti-proton is all about those critical hits and critical damage, and if I can improve that chance of getting critical hits on a science character, that's a big deal, because that's the way that science characters make their DPS, is on critical hits, because they don't do as much DPS as a regular character, or as an engineer or a tactical character. So the only thing you can do is to beef up that critical chance and try to get as many critical hits as you can in. So if you can increase your critical chance in any way, that is beneficial for a science character. Also, I have 2 maximum shield capacity consoles to improve my shield capacity. And then, of course, my tactical consoles, I can only have 2, but I did put those in here. These are the Fleet Spire versions that improve anti-proton damage and critical severity on both of them, so that my critical severity will hit a little harder as well. Again, that's important on a science character. So that is my build. Oh yes, and for the ship shield and all that stuff, I did go with Adapted Mako. The Adapted Mako has the highest shield capacity in the game, other than the Fleet Shield. There might be a Fleet Shield that has a higher capacity, but other than that, it's the next to the highest shield capacity, and it's from the Omega reputation, so it's real easy to get. But 12,000, as you can see right there, just sitting here in space dock. Very high shield capacity. It's got plasma resist against the Borg and all that. And I do have the entire set. I have the entire Adapted Mako set on here. Combat Impulse Engine and Deflector. So we're getting all the bonuses that come with that. And that includes Tactical Readiness, which is plus 25% bonus to torpedo damage. So my torpedo is getting buffed from the 2-piece bonus of the Adapted Mako set. Also, I'm getting plus 8.8 auxiliary power setting. That's huge. That's a huge improvement on my auxiliary power. And because I'm a science ship, that's what I want. So that's why Adapted Mako made more sense than the Mako, because of this tactical readiness that's going to improve my auxiliary power. It also has resistance to crewman loss and a crew recovery rate increase, which is also helpful. And then I'm also getting a set 3 bonus called Mask Energy Field. I don't use it a lot, but I do use it when I go into the Voth city ship, and I turn it on when I go into that second part where you go and close all the hangars. I use it during that to keep ships off my back while I close all the hangars in the city ship. So it comes in handy in that STF. So that's my build. It's all built for science. It's all built for science. I don't know what else to say. Oh yeah, my torpedo, of course, is the Omega Plasma Torpedo. So I guess I do have the full 3-piece set of this. That means I'm also getting a reactive deflection, which is a chance for incoming damage, reduce all incoming damage by 99%. And this does turn itself on every now and then. You'll see it as a big green bubble that goes over the ship, and that means for 2 seconds I take absolutely no damage. And it can come in handy. It's automatic, does it by itself, and it works. I see it do its thing. So that's my build. On to the stations. Now you only have 4 bridge officer stations, but you have commander science, lieutenant commander engineering, and then 2 universal slots. So you really get to customize this ship. I am using Gravity Well 3. Oh yeah. Tychon's Drift 2. Science Team 2. Transfer Shield Strength 1. I could change Science Team 2 to something else if I wanted, but I like having it on this ship. Directed Energy Modulation 2. Engineering Team 2. Emergency Power to Weapons 1. Now I did add Emergency Power to Auxiliary 2. The reason why, again, is I am a science ship and I need to buff all of my science abilities that I'm using, and one way to do that is Power to Auxiliary. I also have emergency power to engines, so I can move a lot faster. Even though the ship already moves well, now with this, combined with evasive maneuvers, I can turn really fast, I can get out of the way, I can move around, and keep enemies from attacking me, because I'm not a big ship. I can't tank as well as a big ship, but I can move a lot. I can move out of the way like a rabbit. Torpedo High Yield 3, Beam Fire at Will 2, and Tactical Team 1. Let's go to space and take a look at her. I will turn off the shield visuals. This is what the ship looks like by itself. Doesn't that look sweet? Look at that. That looks good. It's a good looking ship. Now a lot of people will say, and you will often hear this, that it looks like a turtle. I can see a turtle in it, sure. But even though it looks like a turtle, I think it is a really great ship. It's very detailed on the textures. It's got a nice design, just like I like the design of the Voth Bastion flight deck cruiser. The design of this, it seems like a starship you would see in the future. It seems like this is a design of a ship that you could see an alien flying in space. It's designed like a ship. It's got, it's narrow up front, wide in the back. 2 big engines in the back. I mean, this looks like a starship from the future. So I like the design. It's laid out very well. It's what you would think of a future starship. It looks good, even though, it kind of looks like a turtle. It looks good. Now we turn on the shield visuals from the adapted Mako. It makes it look more metallic, and I like this look. And you'll see this as you fly it around. Look at that. It makes it look more shiny, more metallic, more like metal, I guess, than the other one. It's definitely shiny. Changes the colors a little bit. I think it looks better with the adapted Mako shield on. I think it looks a lot better with that on. Yeah, it looks pretty cool, huh? Now, what do we have on abilities? Well, the only special ability this ship has, because I don't have the Bulwark or Voth Bastion, is the Aceton mode. So there's the stats on it. That's what it does. I can enable it, and then when I'm within 5 km of any enemy, it'll start draining their energy from their warp cores, and you'll see it by the blue little things that go toward your ship, draining energy. And then I can release it at any time, or I can wait for the 20 seconds to be up, and it will release itself just like that. It is useful when you're around a lot of ships, and that's what I find. If you have like a mob of ships around you, it's very good for that. It will do a lot. If you have one big ship around you, it can still help. I've even used it on the Dreadnought inside the Voth City ship in the Breach, and if you get close enough to it, it'll work. I've also used it against mobs of ships. I've used it against even on the Voth City ship when you have to fly over it and destroy the turrets that are on the ship. This thing will also drain the energy from the turrets. Yes, it will. It does that, and that's really cool. So I end up using this a lot, actually, whenever I can. It's a useful ability. Other than that, it's just standard abilities that I have because of set powers or whatever. Like here's the mask field. I enable that, and that it doesn't cloak my ship, but it makes it harder for them to find me. And then, of course, just everything else I have from whatever passives I have enabled or whatever. This is from having Tier 5 New Kara. This is from Tier 5 New Romulus. There's my Gravity Well 3, my Tychon's Rift. Oh yes, because I am a science officer, I of course have Photonic Fleet. Very big, very good to use. You want to buff the auxiliary power before you use it. Here's my power levels, by the way: 120, 87, 46, 77. So I can do auxiliary, emergency power to auxiliary, goes up to 98. Then if I add, so that's good in itself, but then if I add red matter on top of it, 123. So I'm almost maxed out on auxiliary power with those two abilities. And I can activate any ability I want and have like really powerful science abilities because of my aux power being so high right there. So that is very useful. And that's what this ship is about those science abilities. All right, and next, let's show you how it turns. This is the default turn rate on it, or not the default, but I guess the default. I haven't really buffed the turn rate on it. So this is what it is, and it's pretty good. You see, I can turn around pretty fast. Of course, if I add that and that, then I can turn around really fast. But even without them, it's still fast enough. So it maneuvers really well. That's what I like about it. It's fast. It maneuvers well. I can use my abilities really well, and it's all good. So let's look at our stats on it. We have a 48,000 hull, almost 50,000 hull on this. That's not bad for a science ship. My shield strength is at a whopping 21,000. That's right, 21,000. That is really good on shields. 31% on resists. 75% crit severity, a 5% chance, 15% bonus accuracy. We go to impulse here. My turn rate is actually 17.1 degrees per second. So really nice. 500 crew. Power transfer rate is 188%. It's a good ship. Let's take it into battle and see what we can do with it. As normal, we're going to go to clicking all the wrong buttons, and then we're going to click the right button and go to Taldewa Sector Block.
Jolan true. We must secure it. Thank you.
All the ships are jiggling around me. Let's go to over here, and we'll take it into battle against the Romulans on this one. Looks great flying through sector space. It's very shiny because of the Mako shield, adapted Mako shield. But it looks really good. And let's do this. I will try to enable the aceton mode when it's appropriate and show you how that works. But other than that, everything else is pretty standard on it. But what I can do is I do that, I can red matter up and do that.
Ship is under attack.
That green bubble there was the set 3 bonus from the Omega set. Here's the aceton mode. I've enabled it now. And you will see these blue streamers going toward my ship. And that's me taking their energy away, basically. I'm doing that. Yes, I am. I can release it at any time and do more damage like that. Now we're just dancing here. Alright, come back and there we go. Draw in everybody with my gravity well. Rift. Gravity well is still on cooldown. Oh well. It's good for drawing in all these small ships. But I have to wait for the cooldown on it. There we go. Look at that, I'm drawing in all the ships. Yay! I'm not even taking much damage. And we're done. That simple. Not bad for a science ship, huh? Not bad at all. So the aceton field generator unfortunately has a kind of a long cooldown, 3 minutes, but when you use it, it's pretty cool. I like it. I like using it. Let's go to Japori. Alright, let's do this again. This time I'm going to keep my mouth shut and I'm just going to go at this thing full force like I normally do. Three gravity wells at once. Now that's sweet. That's my DOF doing his thing. I have a DOF that can do more gravity wells. I'll show you my DOFs in a second. But I got one that can spawn more gravity wells, and boy, he was doing 3 at that time. That was nice. We will pull a photonic fleet. I haven't used that yet here, but I don't really need it, but I'll do photonic fleet for you guys so you can see that. As a science officer, it's one of your greatest space abilities, honestly. I want to buff it up first before I use it. And the way to do that is aux power. Two, one, and power up, and photonic fleet. I'm not even going to fire. I'll let photonic fleet do its thing. There it is. Got a Typhoon battleship and another Typhoon. Should have 3 of them. Oh, there it is. Another Typhoon. I got 3 Typhoons out at once. Wow. all these ships. Very nice. Very nice ship for a science ship. I think this is one of the best science ships that I've seen so far. So if you're curious about my DOF powers, I know people ask that. I do have things going active space. I've only got 4 active space going, though I don't have a lot, but they are all very rare. I have a space warfare specialist against increased damage versus Borg. That's plus 10% or whatever, or plus 10 or 10% or something like that. What is it? Plus 10% all damage against Borg. I have a chance to reduce the time to recharge torpedoes, and that can improve my recharge time by 5 seconds so that I can use torpedoes faster and more. A chance to gain aux power when activating exotic damage abilities. So when activating any damaging non-weapon bridge officer ability or exotic power abilities, I got a 25% chance of plus 40 aux power for 10 seconds when using exotic damage abilities. So again, you know, keeping all that in mind about being a science ship and all. And then I love this one. This is a chance to create up to 4 aftershock gravity wells. There's a 25% chance of creating an additional gravity well after 12 seconds, a 20% chance of one after 14 seconds, a 15% chance of one after 16 seconds, and a 10% chance of one after 18 seconds. So there's a chance that within a minute, you could have 4 gravity wells, and you saw that I had 3 in that one round. So I love this DOF. I recommend it if you're a science character and you're using gravity well. You have to have the aftershock gravity well, dude or girl. You have to have it. It's just the thing to have. And I have another open position that's not even filled right now, and I really wanted to do something with maybe Tychon's Rift in the last one. Sometimes these things can't share. If you have a DOF that's similar to another one or doing a similar thing, you can't have like 2 of them. And that's unfortunate. So I think my situation I ran into here was I wanted one that gave me like, you know, aftershock Tychon's Rifts or something, I don't know. But I couldn't have it here because it conflicted with my gravity well one. It wouldn't take it. So I run into that problem sometimes, but I am just noticing that I've only got I don't have all my slots filled even on DOFs. So it could be even better once I do that. But anyways, that, my friends, is the Palisade Science Vessel. I love it. I love it. I love it. And we're going to see more of it. I will take you into all the Borg Elite STFs in the next video. And then after that, the Voth ones, and then we'll summarize this ship. But for now, I will conclude the introductory video of the Voth Palisade Science Vessel, and I will leave you with the fact that I like this ship a lot. Stay tuned for the next.